The Boeing 787 Dreamliner, sleek, efficient, and a symbol of modern aviation. Its carbon composite wings and quiet, spacious cabin have made it a favorite for airlines and passengers alike. But beneath this image of innovation, a hidden danger lurks, a software flaw that can, without warning, turn this marvel into a powerless glider. This isn't a typical mechanical issue, it's a rare, elusive bug buried deep in the aircraft's electronic brain. A system meant to protect the engines but capable of shutting them down mid-flight. The result? Pilots may have only seconds to react to a catastrophic loss of power. This flaw has already claimed hundreds of lives and continues to fly on over 1,000 aircraft worldwide. Every day tens of thousands trust the Dreamliner, unaware of the risk that could strike at the most critical moment, just after takeoff. This isn't hypothetical. It's happened before, with fatal consequences, and a definitive fix remains elusive. How can such a critical safety issue persist in a flagship aircraft? The Dreamliner's story is one of technological complexity, corporate responsibility, and the tension between safety and economic pressure. The next time this flaw appears, it could mean another tragedy. Are we willing to keep rolling the dice? The first warning came in 2019, when an all-Nippon Airways 787 in Osaka lost power in both engines just after takeoff. The pilots, stunned, managed to land safely, but the cause was never fully explained. Then, in June 2025, disaster struck. Air India Flight 182 lost thrust moments after takeoff, crashing into a neighborhood and killing 260 people. Investigators found both engines had been shut down by the aircraft's own systems, eerily similar to the Osaka incident. Just weeks later, another Air India 787 out of London suffered the same event. This time, the crew recovered, but the pattern was undeniable. 3 flights, years apart, on different continents, all with uncommanded dual-engine shutdowns. The aviation world was left reeling. Was a hidden flaw in the Dreamliner's software to blame? The evidence pointed to a terrifying possibility, a rare, latent bug that could strike any flight anywhere at any time. The question was no longer if there was a problem, but how many more lives would be at risk before it was fixed. The Dreamliner's reputation for safety was shattered. The world demanded answers, but the danger was still flying, and the clock was ticking. Investigators zeroed in on a little-known system, the Thrust Control Malfunction Accommodation, or TCMA. TCMA is part of the engine's digital brain, designed to protect the engines by monitoring hundreds of parameters. But under rare, confusing conditions, TCMA can mistake a climbing aircraft for one on the ground, and trigger a shutdown sequence meant only for aborted takeoffs. This catastrophic error is invisible to maintenance checks and can't be detected on the ground. The flaw only appears in flight, under a perfect storm of factors. Every Dreamliner could be carrying this hidden defect with no way to know which one is vulnerable. Pilots are trained for single-engine failures, not for both engines shutting down at once with almost no warning. The real enemy isn't a broken part, but a ghost in the machine, software designed to save the plane, but capable of dooming it. The result? A deadly game of technological Russian roulette. After the Air India crash and London near-miss, regulators focused on hardware, ordering urgent inspections of cockpit fuel switch locks. Airlines checked their fleets. No faults were found, the switches worked as designed. But the incidents weren't caused by pilots bumping switches. The data pointed to an automated, uncommanded action. The inspections created an illusion of action, but did nothing to address the suspected TCMA software bug. Boeing issued reassurances about hardware but didn't acknowledge the software as the likely culprit or announce a fix. The FAA echoed this stance, issuing only non-binding recommendations: no grounding, no mandatory software update, no cockpit redesign. The investigation drags on, but the silence from regulators and Boeing leaves a dangerous vacuum. With every day the 787 flies unfixed, the industry signals it's willing to accept the risk. The focus on hardware is like searching for lost keys under a streetlight because it's easier, not because it's right. The real problem remains unaddressed. Why is the Dreamliner still flying despite a suspected fatal flaw? The answer: statistics, economics, and the high bar for regulatory action. With thousands of Dreamliners flying millions of flights, only 3 known incidents have occurred, allowing the problem to be framed as a rare anomaly. Grounding the fleet would cost billions, disrupt global travel, and devastate Boeing and airlines. The economic and political pressure to keep flying is immense. Meanwhile, without a smoking gun in the software, regulators hesitate to act. The official investigation isn't complete, and unconfirmed reports muddy the waters. The industry is betting the rare conditions won't align again before a fix is found, a gamble with lives at stake. For passengers, this is cold comfort. Safety should be proactive, not reactive. The decision to keep flying is a silent consensus. Economic cost outweighs statistical risk. Waiting for a final report is a luxury we can't afford. We need urgent, targeted action. Not a full grounding, but a strategy to ground the risk. First, regulators must issue a mandatory airworthiness directive, not just recommendations. A simple hardware fix, installing robust guards over fuel control switches, can prevent automated shutdowns, buying time for a permanent software solution. Boeing must be compelled to develop and transparently test a software patch with independent oversight. Regulators should embed their own experts, ending self-certification for critical systems. Airlines must update training, briefing crews on the risk and recovery procedures for uncommanded engine shutdowns. Pilots are the last line of defense. Keeping them in the dark is unacceptable. These steps are urgent, practical, and necessary to restore safety and trust. The time to act is now. We stand at a crossroads for aviation safety. The Dreamliner's hidden danger shows that software can be as deadly as any mechanical failure. Inspections and reassurances aren't enough, it's a gamble with lives. The silence from Boeing and hesitation from regulators is alarming. Passengers trust that every measure has been taken to keep them safe. Transparency and decisive action are non-negotiable. Physical switch guards, a mandated software patch, and enhanced crew training are rational, necessary steps. Anything less signals a willingness to accept casualties as the cost of business. The echoes of Flight 182 are a warning we can't ignore. The safety of the flying public must never be left to chance.